Hi, and welcome to this talk of mine about schizophrenia and living words. Schizophrenia and the solution of living words. We have all been living words on many levels of our living, many levels of our existence. We've all been living words like anxiety, or fear, or worry, or nervous, or jealous, or depressed. Such a word, emotional words, we all know very, very stinking well how to live. We all know very well how to live such a word of emotion. So there's a problem. Say I have anxiety. Anxiety is my problem. I must then open up and see, where does this anxiety come from within me? How is it created? So that I can understand how I have created anxiety within me, within my experience. I must open up and see, okay, I have anxiety from this memory, from this memory, from this occasion, and opening it up for myself to see what is causing this fear, this anxiety, this barbed wire within me. For me to see it, to understand it, so that I can forgive it. And by that, making another point of understanding and forgiveness. Meaning I have a problem, I have anxiety as an emotion, a problem first point. Then, second point is understanding, opening up, understanding and forgiving the many details of the first initial problem, the story, the long dictionary of words, the stories. And after walking a process of opening up, embracing self and facing self and being dead honest about what I find. I must always be very honest about what I find within myself and my history, my past. And having these 2 points then, problem, anxiety, and solution, solution, understanding, opening up, understanding, and forgiving. And then we can move to a third solution, which is making it a triangle, right? Into a living solution of something that is a solutive words to this anxiety. For instance, freedom. I could live the word freedom as a solution, or expression, or calm. Any word that oneself would find to be like a cure to this first initial anxiety, understanding it, forgiving it, and then living the solution once we see that the anxiety does not hold that power over me no more, because I have forgiven it and I understand it in great, great detail. When I understand it and I've forgiven it in great detail, there is just a polarity. There's a 1 point, 2 point, up and down, yes, no, good, bad, right, left, blue, red, positive, negative. There's a polarity. And polarities, we know, are very mathematical, very much controlled by our minds. A polarity is very, very easy thing to handle for our minds, for the metaphysics, for the non-existent, for the imaginary. So, then we make a third point, a living solution. And by doing so, we create a triangle. We create a geometrical figure within ourselves from our creation, from having worked on opening up the problem, the anxiety, writing out the stories, what were the layers behind this. And from that, understanding it and working through it, step by step, day by day, breath by breath, and forgiving it in great detail, so that the anxiety is no longer there. It is no longer have the power over us, no more. But rather we can draw a solution into living words, a living solution, responsible solution to a living word such as gentleness. I can be gentle with myself and then create this triangle of self-creation, which is something more of a beingness structure, right? The triangle is more of a beingness component or structure. And you know, there can be very different sorts of geometrical figures. The point is that to bring out and bring forth one's beingness from the dimensions between, from the balance between the physical body, the mind, and then the beingness. So that the beingness within the self can come, take the leading seat, so to speak, to be more in charge, to be more alive, to be more present, to be more active. And that is a very cool triangle that I have created. I created a few triangles already, from a problem to forgiveness, understanding, and then up to a living solution. And then I have created within and as myself, self-creation, a real, cool, tangible solution that I can bring out if I come to a situation and I see that, okay, here's the issue, there's some energies here, there's some whatever here, there's some issues in a situation. I can bring forth my blueprint, my architectural design of triangle, of seeing how this, or my triangle, or any sort of geometrical creation that I can create into a new solution, into a new situation. So that I can bring my triangle of problem, understanding, forgiveness, living, responsible solution into any given equation, any given problem or polarity, and so on. And I am convinced that if I can cure polarities from this, look at that, problem, understanding, forgiveness, polarity, right? Good and bad, right and wrong, right, left, red, blue, positive, negative, polarity. If I can, but from my writing, from my breathing, from my honesty, from my inner sight, from my beingness, from my working, if I can, from my working, create a design, a geometrical design of a third point, of a triangle creation that I create, that nobody else created, that I created. If I can do that, that is a great to inspire others, I guess, because in theory, I've just proven that, for instance, bipolar is solvable, for instance, or that, you know, polarity in itself has a solution. It is hereby equated. I mean, not to discharge any bipolar or manic depressive patient. That can be hard, that can be tough, that can be really, 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 really tough and difficult to deal with. And deep programming as such. But I'm saying that to the emotional burden that we carry, being it histories, events, memories from a past, traumas even, all sorts of nitty-gritty bad blah 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 thoughts in our head that we do not want in our head at all, talking to nastiness and whatever. All these things I can map out. Problem, what's the problem, open up the problem, go to understanding and forgiveness, and understanding and forgiving and learning self to know, and learning who one have been within this issue, and then making a geometrical triangle of self-creation. And I do hope you see that a polarity of plus and minus, red and blue, good and bad, up and down, is very much more, what shall I say, simpler, perhaps is a good word, simpler. It's much more simple than a triangle. A triangle is much more of a design that can be further. It holds a new type of value. A pin needle and a triangle are two different types of tools, you could say. A pin needle and a triangle are two different, very different to me, types of tools within being creative, within being whatever. So this is the my personal triangle, working from the problem of anxiety, barbed wire. How can I open up this problem of seeing anxiety within myself, you know? Where did this happen? Map it all out. Map it out in great detail. Understand it, learn from it. Forgive it, and find living solution, a living word, freedom, expression. You know, there's a cool word to heal from having forgiven all the details that led to the anxiety and then living the solution. I hope you get something out of this. If this is something you can relate to, have questions about, please feel free to ask questions. It's about self-creation, understanding self, forgiving self, working with self, because you know yourself best and I know myself best, and that is how we can work this. Thank you very much. Enjoy.